and I was able to win a state championship with WithIn High School in football, and that got me to college. And during college, I hit a block because I went away to Tennessee to this country town, and let me back up. I'm a Grady baby, originally from Atlanta. So I was used to a certain speed in my life, and when I got to this slower town, I started going off track. I ended up going and transferring to West Georgia, where I became a party promoter, hooked up with a lot of my friends, and I ended up getting kicked off the football team because I was partying too much, basically. That led to a downward spiral in my life where I just didn't care. I would walk in the club and just swing on somebody, and this was back when, you go out, it's people, it's like slam dancing everywhere back in the 90s in Atlanta. So I was thrown off. It took me seeing where I was and having kind of like an out-of-body experience, like, this isn't me, this isn't my character, why am I doing these things? Mm-hmm. So I left West Georgia, came back to Atlanta, and I got tired of being a big fish in a small pond down there, and I put my mind over taking over Atlanta. And with King Code, we're doing it in a different way. Back then, I was thinking, I want to get all the money in the world and success. Now I'm more on significance.
Come on now. Come on now.
Simply United Together actually pushes me to do more. I've always been talented. I've always loved what I'm doing, but I was lazy. I wasn't living up to my potential. Everyone around me couldn't see because they were just, oh, he's doing good, he's doing that. But I wasn't living up to my standards. Mm-hmm. And I'm finding the royalty within, and I'm enjoying the journey.
Enjoying the journey, man.
King Code.
Hey, man, this is okay. If y'all don't already know, I'm gonna share a little bit about who is Dr. Ed Womack, because today that's what they call me. But I got to be totally transparent. Part of the attraction to be a part of this amazing group of men, to be a part of King Code, is because I wasn't always Dr. Ed. I wasn't always the owner and founder of Man Rise Up. I wasn't always a radio personality, and now, by the grace of God, a TV personality. I want to take you back a little bit to the city of Detroit, which is where I grew up, on the west side of Detroit, and it was like sitting in two different worlds growing up. And I'm not going to tell you that I came from a home where I was battered and bruised, but what I will share with you is that in that home there was some violation that took place that most men won't talk to you about. And there's a lot of men that are sitting out there today that have had encounters in their lives that they are suffering through in silence. I was that guy. I was sitting on the fence because I wanted to be hip, cool, and slick like the gangsters, pimps, and players that I saw rolling and rocking in Detroit when Motown was at its peak. But I also had parents that was like, boy, you gonna go to school, get good grades, so you can get a job. And oh, by the way, Dad carried a 38 on his side legally because he was a police officer. So I was kind of like, man, what do I do? And I was feeling like I never quite fit in. And I know there's somebody sitting out there in King Code today that can relate to that. I mean, feeling like you never fit in. I straddled the fence most of my life. And what that caused me to do was to go inward because of the stigmas, the stereotypes that society say, I got to be this puffed up cat. I got to take the world on by myself. And what I discovered is, after it almost took me out of here twice, the first time I was in Chicago, because I didn't have mentors around. I had my father physically present, but my dad was so busy grinding, so busy providing for us, and he did the best he could with what he had. So don't get it twisted. I love my dad, God rest his soul. But there was this one person who stepped in my life, Coach Eddie Rachel, my basketball coach. We won a state championship undefeated. And he didn't just care about winning the game. He wanted us to be quality men. But somewhere along the line, because I hadn't dealt with those issues of violation when I was coming up, I hadn't dealt with the straddling the fence, feeling like I didn't fit in. And I took that madness and that chaos into my adult life, went to the Marine Corps, and like you said, got away, got out the big city, and lost my mind. Started tripping, started partying, hanging out real heavy. Just really, when they have a party in the Marine Corps, they have vans pull up with the spigots out the side, so you just drink, you drink till you can't no more, right? And so I used drinking, alcohol, and drugs to escape, because I didn't want to deal with that pain. And so we hoping through our story that each of our respective stories. We can offer you some kind of insight, some kind of attachment, so that you can begin to find the royalty within you. And so after having attempted suicide and also being a crackhead for over 18 months right here in Decatur, Georgia, I finally got to a point where I said, you know what? This can't possibly be what my life is supposed to be like. And I reached out for help. And we want the King Code to be that platform that you can reach out to, that you can extend yourself to, that you can connect with one of these 5 brothers that's sitting up here at whatever level you at. And we purposely put together this panel so that it's not just a one-size-fits-all. Each one of us, as you've already heard, has a very different perspective on life. Each one of us have come through some different things. But the one thing that we all have in common is we want you to find the royalty within. We want you to realize that the mess that you went through can very well be your message. We want you to understand that the tests that have come in your life could very well be your testimony. At King Code, we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. We want you to be able to find the royalty within. I'm Ed Womack, the Urban Leadership Strategist, and I make it my life's work to pour into men through collaborative situations, as you see sitting before you here at the King Code, to be able to each one teach one. And as we go along that journey, if we realize the power of collaboration will allow us to accelerate and elevate through community activities. And oh, by the way, the rent that we pay, what's the rent we pay, y'all? Rent we pay.
Service.
It's service.
Service.
And that's the common thread that every last one of us have up here. We have found a joy and a redemption in service. And so we're going to chop it up today because part of the core of King Code is service and being able to be available. So we're going to let everybody go through the room and chop it up on a little bit of service. Is that cool with everybody?
Absolutely.
And explain exactly what it is about that service that drives them to be significant. I love what Will said. It ain't about being successful. It's about being significant.
Right.
So let's start in reverse order this time because the service king himself, Mr. 25,000 events a year. Dr. J, talk to him a little bit about service, brother.
Well, I truly believe that service is the key to everything that you do. I believe that being a blessing to others. One thing that I heard from all 4 of you guys and probably everybody out there is that everybody has a burden.
Right.
And that's that. Going through my journey, the burden is the heaviest thing that you go through, and it's how you handle that burden. And what Simply United Together was created on a big burden. As a man, we have our egos and everything, and I was stripped of everything. And when I was stripped of everything, all I had was my 2 boys, and we were destitute on I-20 5 years ago. But on that Saturday morning, God woke me up and said, you know what, I want you to serve others. And let's be honest, God tells you to do something.
And yeah, that was Dr. J. He got cut off real quick because Dr. Jones had something real deep to say, and there wasn't enough tape in the recording, so we had to switch. But I'm gonna let you hear the rest of that after this that I got to say. Those 5 guys on the panel are like 5 different types of people. We've all, well, some of us, I'm not going to say we all, but yeah, we all have our vices. Like Dr. Womack said his vice was alcohol and drugs. King Quill, his vice was for his anger. His vice was sports and music and parties. and more so parties, because a vice is something you do to escape. So he did do the sports to escape the anger, to better it, I guess, and, you know, take a stride with it and make something out of it. You know, he didn't let it keep him down. And you have Poker Jones, who dealt with his vice. You know, he didn't really get too deep into it, but as he said, he made bad choices in his life, and he wound up in a bad place, or a place he didn't want to be, multiple times. So his vice cost him a lot of his freedom. Well, I'm not going to say a lot, because he's still living, he's still here, and he's free. So a little of his freedom, you know. And you got Big Chris. He's just, you know, he's done things like, he don't have to say right now, he don't have to tell you, but he has his vices. Everybody has a vice, and that's the point. Whether it's drinking, smoking, clubbing, sex, cooking, you know, traveling, anything that you can to help you escape your reality, however bad it is. There's one thing I've learned, is that you cannot let your vices be so tight on you that you can't let them go. You can't release the vice and be free of it. You know, and all that forms from a habit. You know, you start drinking. Like me, I know when I was young, I didn't like beer. I thought it smelled nasty. I thought it tasted nasty. I thought cigarettes were horrible. But, let me see, 15 years later, 14, 13 years later, I was smoking a cigarette. I was drinking beer. I was drinking Hennessy, you know, at a young age. And it was cool. But then later on, it became a vice. But I never let it get so tight that I couldn't let it go. Like now, 17 years later, 18 years later, you know, I don't drink like I used to. I don't drink to escape anything. Yes, I still smoke cigarettes, and that's a habit hard to kick. And believe me, it is a habit, and that's it. And just read about it and you'll find out. But, you know, to be transparent as anything that is anybody on that panel, me being the sixth man, because I'm here, this is my radio show, and I get to tell you about me or whatever I want. So basically, I'm going to spin off of what they're speaking about. They're introducing themselves, and I'm here. You know, you don't know who I am, so let me introduce myself and be as transparent as I can. And by saying that, I'll say that I'm a 38-year-old man. I didn't finish high school, you know, like the guys on the panel. I was a statistic, you know, didn't finish high school, partly to the fault that I was moved around in my youth, back and forth from Atlanta to New York, Atlanta, you know, back and forth between mother and father for years, you know, from elementary to high school. And, you know, one year I was coming back down to Atlanta, and I was going to finish school. And when I got down, I basically couldn't